How's it going, everybody? I am Josh, KI6NAZ. I got more questions at my email box. No dumb questions in ham radio. And we're kicking it off with, I guess, something to do with this hat. Let's get started. So if you're new to this concept, people send me emails at josh@hamtactical.com related to ham radio, and I try and answer them to the best of my ability. And Austin sends us a good one. Austin writes, Josh, you have talked about taking a ham radio to Disneyland before, and that there was some complexities and issues with that, and would I go into some greater detail? Absolutely. So here's the deal with Disneyland. Disneyland has a kind of blanket law or rule on their parks that anything they don't like when you're going in via the bag check, which is basically like the TSA line on steroids. They're extremely serious about bag checks, metal detectors, the whole 9 yards. When they're going through your bags, if they find anything they don't like, they can ask you to simply take it back to your car. And then that item is just not getting into the park. Just imagine Disneyland has, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people that go through the park every year. It's probably even more than that. But many people have gotten through just fine with radios, myself included. But as a pass holder, which I used to be, we no longer have Disneyland passes, which I'll talk about a little bit towards the end here. Yeah, they have stopped me from my ham radio multiple times, and they end up looking at it as being more tactical and complicated than a standard FRS radio, so they start getting curious about it when they see a radio like a Yaesu FT3DR was the last time I got stopped trying to bring that into the park. What I told them is, it's a family radio. I use it to talk to my family and friends. And they let me through. If you start going through this whole rabbit hole of, oh, it's an amateur radio, I'm an FCC licensed amateur radio operator, etc., I've heard that they don't really enjoy that. That's Disneyland in Southern California. Completely different story at Disney World. Disney World is actually very open arms embracing of amateur radio operators. And in fact, going so far as they have their own amateur radio club, which is the website behind me here, link in the description. It's DEARS, the Disney Emergency Amateur Radio Service. And they are in Orlando, Florida. If you are going to Disney World, you likely have a little problems bringing a handheld into the park. It's probably not a big deal. I would still go the route of when asked, oh, it's a family radio, I'm using it to talk to my family and friends, and just leave it like that. However, if you go on the internet forums and web boards and Googles and all that stuff, you will find that there's a lot of people that are talking about how they got sent back to their car to drop their radio off before they could enter the park. And yes, Disneyland will just tell you it's just not allowed. You're going to have to leave it in your car. And it's totally up to the person you're talking to. They don't really whip out bylaws, although I guess they can. The end of the road basically is their discretion when it comes to what they want on the park or in the park or not. Now, I'm sure you're probably wondering, okay, Josh, that's handhelds, but what about HF radios? I've never attempted to do HF radio from Disneyland, nor have I wanted to. I will give you a big nod, though, for Knott's Berry Farm in Southern California. I consistently bring ham radio with me. I consistently bring HF QRP radios with me and have set up antennas, mainly the Elecraft AX1 and similar telescopic antennas, running a radio like off into a bush or whatever while I'm eating. I've done that multiple times. No one cares. They have opened my bag. They have opened the actual KX2 bag that I have that holds all the parts. Never batted an eye at it. They didn't even ask what it was. I think one time I volunteered it was a radio, and they were like, oh, okay, sure, go ahead. Knott's Berry Farm is way cooler about amateur radio than Disneyland is, for sure, if you're down here in Southern California. So thank you very much for your question, Austin. Really do appreciate it. All right, and my next question, this is a really good one about Raspberry Pis. They have asked that their name and call sign not be mentioned on the video, and hey, I respect that. They write, here's where I totally don't get and am completely lost on, and that's Raspberry Pi. Why not just use a small laptop? Or if Raspberry Pi has something really cool going on, and it must, judging from its popularity, where do I start? Help! Ah, the Raspberry Pi. For the last couple of years, this has been quite a popular item in amateur radio, thanks to people like Jason, KM4ACK, and Julian, OH8STN out of Finland. KM4ACK does an amazing job creating a script that you run on a freshly flashed Raspberry Pi, brand new Raspberry Pi, and it will load all the amateur radio software on it, and he's done a fantastic job in maintaining that and keeping it up. So if you're interested in Raspberry Pi and you didn't know about this, go check out KM4ACK's channel. His link is in the description. As well, Julian, OH8STN, longtime Raspberry Pi user in portable operations. Now, I'm just going to, this is my opinion, I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth. I think people are starting to kind of back away from the Raspberry Pi a little bit. And I'll talk about why. First, though, let me explain what a Raspberry Pi is for those that don't know. I'm assuming there's maybe people who've been living in their ham shack for the last 10 years without internet. Maybe just got a brand new computer in there. Congratulations on watching me here on YouTube. I'm just kidding, of course. The Raspberry Pi is a single board computer. It's incredibly lightweight in both its size, but also in its performance. It's not a heavy load on batteries. You can keep this thing going very easily with just a couple of volts. It runs off of USB voltage, basically, so 4.5 volts, something like that. You can run it off of a battery bank for an entire weekend and really not have any problem. The same ones you'd use on like a cell phone. It'll run it for a really long time. It runs a lightweight version of Linux. There's actually multiple operating systems that you can run on this. Some are larger, more bloated would be the word I would use, and some are super high-speed low drag to the point that you probably couldn't even use this for ham radio. There are myriad projects that surround Raspberry Pis. Currently, due to the chip shortage and everything we're going on in the world, Raspberry Pis have become extremely difficult to get your hands on. If you do end up getting one, though, or starting to look for one, I recommend you get a Raspberry Pi 4. That's about the easiest baseline to get started with. I think they probably work the best for ham radio from a performance standpoint. Now, why do people like Raspberry Pis? It's a lightweight computer. You can load this up, connect this to a radio, a QRP radio, for instance, would be a really good match with a Raspberry Pi. And in a portable situation, you can just let it run. You can let it run on JS8 call. You can let it run on WinLink. You can let it run on multiple digital modes and just have it collecting communications, messages, whatever, while you're off away in camp doing something else or enjoying your time. Then while you're there sitting around, you can pull out a tablet or a computer if you wanted to, and you can Wi-Fi into this thing and do what we call VNC, remote desktoping, right on top of this. This thing acts kind of like a little Wi-Fi active web accessible computer or online network accessible computer. So by remote desktoping into this, you can use any kind of tablet. You can use an Android tablet, you can use an iOS device, and you can use a traditional laptop if you're so inclined. A lot of people sometimes will use Microsoft Surface devices and other Microsoft Windows running tablets. That way, you're being miserly with the consumption of battery that you may be using, which is pretty nice. That's the portable side. So if I was going out in the field and I wanted to run portable, running a Raspberry Pi is completely fine because I only need to use my laptop or my heavier draw device only as often as I want to check my messages or make an active contact. So in the ham shack, it's actually even more useful from my point of view. They're just small computers, and there are a lot of people who have made special programs, special software to make some things in your ham shack a lot easier. Wouldn't it be cool if you just had a small computer that was always connected to your radio, for instance, receiving slow scan television messages throughout the day? That's often what I use one for. I just plug it in, leave it running for a week, and then check back in and see what's going on. And wow, sure enough, a bunch of pictures, which is pretty cool. But basically anything you'd want to do that's shack bound or computer bound, you can probably replace with a Raspberry Pi. It doesn't do all things, but it does a lot of things, and it's always kind of a nice little backup to have. If you follow my friend Kyle AA0Z, he's doing a lot with Node Red, which is a shack automation system.
It goes and looks up the contact that you just made and then it displays the score and the QSOs and some radio information. It's got some bar graphs on QSOs by band.
You can automate many different parts of your shack if you have some nicer gear. Flex radios, some web-enabled antenna rotors. It'll pull in your logs and information off the internet for propagation, and you can display it on, again, a remote system, so you can be on your main shack computer and you can remote into this and control your radios and other equipment, which makes it pretty nice. You can do something like the Geochron as well. I think it's called Ham Clock or some other apps that will do similar things, and you can just put it on a monitor just sitting in your ham shack, and it can have that kind of information function. It's not so much that there is this killer app or this whiz-bang thing that this does that make it invaluable for your ham radio journey. It's just that it's a cool device that is relatively inexpensive if you can find them, and does everything a computer would do basically, or at least running Linux. Now they get even smaller too. This is a Raspberry Pi Zero 2W. This is probably the fastest tiny Raspberry Pi chipish thing in this form factor before you step up to the larger 4. And yes, there's an aluminum case on this. They show up as just a bare circuit board with ports on the side. But this guy will pretty much do everything else the Pi 4 will do. It'll just take longer because it's pretty slow. It doesn't have a lot of performance, as you would expect from just a, sub $70 computer. In this case, even cheaper than that, sub $40 computer. Now, the interesting thing about this guy is that these Pi Zeros, they have a lot of use in ham radio. Most hotspots that are available on the market that are running Pi Star is running on a Pi Zero. And it has a hat on top of it that does the RF components, the RF SDR work that you would expect. But the software here running the actual hotspot is on the Pi. And you need that to make that work. So here's my little guy. I haven't found a good project for him yet, but I do have another one just like this that's in a case, and it's just a small version of this guy. Something else that's kind of cool, and maybe you would consider it if you're kind of a techie internet or networking kind of guy, is have a Pi on your network and store a lot of your favorite documents on there. It'll offload some of the need to have that on your shack computer and have that always be on, turned on, sucking juice, versus just having a little network-aware Pi. It can sit by your Wi-Fi router and serve your whole house. So you can be on any computer technically and be able to remote into this and get important files, get manuals, drivers, etc. There's many things you can do with this. You just have to start thinking about it in the sense of, hey, what would a tiny, lightweight, network-aware computer be valuable in my home shack or my home network? Well, thank you both for sending in those emails. I really do appreciate it, and I hope they were helpful. I am Josh, KI6NAZ. This is No Dumb Questions in Ham Radio, and if you'd like to have your questions answered by me, you can send them to josh@hamtactical.com. Thanks again, everybody. See ya. So thanks for that question, Austin. Austin. Thank you very much for your question, Austin. And now my remote's not working. Bruh.